We're good. All right, good evening. I'd like to call the October 15th, 2019 Board of Selectmen's meeting to order. Can we all please stand for the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, I don't have any announcements, and as there is no one in the audience, I'm going to assume there's nobody here for anything that's not on the agenda. So we'll go right to item 1, which is retiree health insurance renewal, January 1st, 2020, and possible votes.
So, Mr. Chairman, as you know, the town is a party to the Massachusetts Strategic Health Group, which was formed for the purpose of joint purchase of health insurance products and or self-insurance. We've determined to self-insure our active group, but when it comes to the retirees, whose plan will be rolling this coming January, we went out to the market and we bid the whole thing out. So to fully insured, we also bid it out for self-insured, and tested a great many options, which are included in your backup. I'm pleased to say there was a tremendous amount of interest. There were several competitive bids. There were also several bids that were not very competitive, but from national carriers that at least thought they would try. So we have a better result here than we often do with the more traditional competitive bidding process for things that we buy. But we have a luxury, health insurance being one of the products that's exempt from 30B, to negotiate with parties and arrive at a good conclusion. Our incumbent did not provide us with a strong competitive bid. It was a good bid. They've been pleasant to work with. The retirees are very happy. In the end, we got two very competitive bids. One was put forward by Aetna Insurance, which is one of the largest insurance carriers. They have lots of experience dealing with Medicare Supplement and Medicare Advantage plans. And they came in with a very low price. And they actually expanded the basic offerings of the plan. Aetna's been working with CMS and the powers that be at Medicare to qualify any number of extra benefits as a Medicare Advantage plan component. That includes the delivery of up to 14 meals to a retiree's home after debilitating surgery. During that period when you first get home and VNA's coming and the therapists are coming, and get up to 14 free meals as a benefit of the plan that they submitted to us. They also provide up to 24 visits, transportation to up to 24 visits to providers during the year. So it was a very competitive program. The second most competitive program was brokered by or submitted by Retiree First, which is a very strong advocacy group. They actually don't treat you like a number. They form individual relationships with clients. And the people that work in the business operate as almost, I don't want to say like social workers, but like case managers. Mm-hmm. So instead of having one person whose job it is to answer the phone regardless of who calls, if you have a case manager, you call in about a question about your policy, you're always referred back to the same person who has that file on you, and it's on the computer, and it's about you, not about the business. They had put forward a United Healthcare plan that was not as generous as the Aetna plan, but it was still competitive. So in the final analysis, the board and its consultant decided to ask Retiree First if they would administer the Aetna plan. So Retiree First had to give up some of their margin. Aetna had to give up some of their margin in order to make the relationship work, but they do work together in many places, including the city of Philadelphia, which has a contract with Retiree First, administering an Aetna plan. So in the final analysis, we recommended that plan because we feel that we want our retirees to get personalized service, but we also wanted the richer benefits provided under Aetna. We brought this plan to our employee advisory committee with all of our collective bargaining units, and our non-union employees have representation, and they unanimously accepted it. So since it is a big change, it is a transition, I'm looking for ratification of the decision that I've made, but you have the support of the IAC, the Insurance Advisory Committee, to that effect, and we can get to the minutes, but we'd like to ink this contract to begin the relationship. It's October, middle of October. This transition would occur beginning January 1st, so.
How does it fit with self-insurance?
So this product was so competitive, let me just give you a sense.
Yeah.
We're basically saving 25%.
So even the self-insurance couldn't have been any better, you're saying?
No.
Would have been worse?
No, in the final analysis, it wasn't, not for the same
It's funny,
benefits.
but the regular insurance program for our current employees, it's,
Well, what's funny, well, it's not funny to me.
Yeah.
I'm actually kind of, I don't want to say infuriated, but I'm very disappointed that if you look at our current incumbent, they underbid their price to us today by $40 per member per month.
yeah.
So they basically told us, at least here in Douglas, that we're overcharging you. So I just can't fathom that. But if you go to page 3,
It shows you the margins, doesn't it? Shows you the margins.
page 3, you see these bars, and I would draw your attention to the third category, THP Medicare Preferred Supplement, and that's your per member per month charge, $389, which we divide 50-50 with the retiree. And the Aetna plus Retiree First is the second line in the red font, and the program we're going with is the 291.29. So it's almost $100 off. So for our retirees, just really quick math, almost $600 a year cheaper, and $600 a year cheaper per member for the town.
Cheaper for the town, cheaper for everybody.
That's great.
So that's where we've ended up.
Win-win.
A couple questions.
Sure.
How many retirees does the town currently cover? A rough number is fine if you know.
Well, the precise number is on that same page.
We don't
So,
have to go farther.
In that
do we?
blue bar,
Yeah.
that's everybody's information there. So that third one, that's us, the THP Medicare Preferred Supplement. We have 101 enrolled there, and 6 in the HMO. There were 6 people who wanted the cheaper plan.
Right.
Because they didn't plan on leaving the region.
Okay.
So they would never be out of network. And I'm not sure who's Dudley Charlton and who's Webster, but you can see they had the exact same, almost the exact same plan.
Right.
They're at about 282 and 26.
Thank you.
We like win-wins.
And you'd like to vote on this? So we
Yeah,
can
if you
ratify?
would, just to ratify that procurement decision, and then make sure that if any constituent reaches out to you, that you refer them to us. Retiree First is going to be having breakfasts and one-on-one meetings with all of our beneficiaries, so I don't really think we should get any concern, but
Just in case.
just in case.
I move that we vote to ratify the town manager's presentation as far as retiree healthcare changes.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right. Vote on the Cable Advisories Committee charge change. And this is, as I remember last meeting, we talked about moving them over to being an ad hoc committee.
Subject to the call of the chair. I think what they finally decided is they're going to meet quarterly because they have enough of a policy menu to go through. And I do want them to continue to participate in the budget, setting priorities for their day-to-day staff. So they're going to do that, but quarterly is much less of a burden. It's 4 meetings a year instead of 12.
Okay.
They took out those things which they no longer thought were relevant here from the charge. And then we've got the job title for the cable access coordinator. All we did was strike one sentence. So instead of providing vouchers to the committee for approval, they'll implement the budget as approved by town meeting, which, as you know, still requires them to come through the process. So it gets checked by Jean, and by me, and then finally by the treasurer before any checks are cut.
Okay.
So there's checks and balances there.
Do you need to vote on this?
Yeah.
Make a motion that we vote to support the Cable Advisory Committee's change in its charge.
I'll second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay. The Medical Alternatives Host Community Agreements, they'd like to do a change of name to Resinate, which is their new company name, as opposed to Medical Alternatives.
Do we have feedback from Mr. Bowen on this?
So what I'm be looking for is a vote to authorize me to sign on behalf of the town, because we're not going to look at the substantive contents of any of the host community agreements at all. They're not being reopened.
It's just a name change.
What we are going to insist upon is that their corporate structure, their corporate secretary certify that they are aware of and will comply with all the terms of those agreements. Because it's not just a name change.
I agree.
The company's gone from being a nonprofit to being a for-profit. There's been substantial structure change to the board, and there's been a fair number of shares issued in order to raise more capital to finish the project. So it really isn't the exact same company. They obviously have the same purpose, same property, same goal, same objective. We don't want to stand in their way, and yet we have to protect the town.
Fair enough. So basically, all we do is making a vote to give Matt signatory power over the community host agreement.
I would qualify it, provided no
Yeah.
changes are made to any of the operative clauses.
Matt, in our meeting today, we spoke about sending them some documentation, just acknowledging that this host agreement.
Right, so I won't sign off. So this is a paperwork thing that they want me to sign off on for the CCC, for the Cannabis Control Commission, approving the name change.
Yeah.
I would not sign that until they, under the corporate seal of their company, send me a document saying they acknowledge the terms and conditions of the two agreements.
That they're held to those agreements.
Yes.
Correct. I mean, that's a floor to build from anyway, right?
Yeah.
We want to venture a motion on that?
So moved. Approve the changes to the host agreement?
Well,
I
Is
think
that correct?
we're
we're
giving Matt.
approving, we're given, if you'll withdraw yours.
Yes, I'll
make
withdraw
one.
mine, you make it.
I make a motion that we give the town administrator signatory power over the entity's name change, with the understanding that they are bound by all the terms and conditions of the two agreements negotiated, the new entity.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Is it actually just a name change, or is it a different company actually, per se?
Well, I'm an old school purist. To me, there's a world of difference between a not-for-profit and a for-profit,
Yeah.
namely profit. So, fundamentally, is a different company.
Yeah.
A lot of the same players, but
Well,
Goal is,
But it's a different legal entity, because
Yeah,
it's
sure.
a profit.
yeah, it really is.
Yeah, okay.
And, under the terms of the agreements themselves, they were not supposed to assign any rights under the contract to anyone without the Board of Selectmen's approval. So that's what I said. I said, I can't do this without.
Yeah.
that works. Overall, they're still going to be doing the same thing.
Same thing.
Only now for profit. And the name like Resonate, which is, I like it better than
Resonate.
medical alternatives, honestly.
Technically, they went to for-profit status before they changed the name, so we're kind of catching up with a couple of changes they've made. They were advised that communication could be more timely the next time.
Gotcha. All right, so we need to approve and sign the special town meeting warrant for November 18th, 2019, and possible votes. And there was no changes based off of the last time we'd reviewed the warrant.
Right, and it has been reviewed by town council.
Wasn't it going to be an additional article? No?
There was a follow-up email saying that the land council said that it did not need to go to town meeting.
That's right. Call that now.
I'll make a motion that we approve and sign the special town meeting warrant for November 18th, 2019, as presented.
I'll second that motion.
Motion's been made and seconded. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
I'll have you sign it during executive session.
Awesome.
Tonight, the night we divvy up articles,
No.
No,
No.
we're waiting until you're not here.
to that.
in Mr. Hughes' absence,
Right.
is-
You bring up a very valid
Should
point.
we?
I think that this may be, can we do that?
We can.
You could do a rough draft.
I think we should do a rough draft with a hold them to.
Would we
He
like to do
expressed an
that?
interest in doing more than his fair
I think he
share.
did, he generally does.
Yeah.
He was really clamoring for any prior year bills.
Right.
Those are his favorites. So I think that we should give him anything that's prior year bills.
Well,
There's only one of those.
Yeah, come on.
What else can we give him?
I know his favorite numbers are 5 through 9, so
5 through 9.
five might not be his,
Yeah.
or 6. I see that.
Well, that would leave out prior year bills, Mr. Bowman, so perhaps 2 and 5 through 9.
I don't think he'd do a 7.
5,
I could
I
do
was
5,
hoping
yeah.
Yeah.
Selectman
so-
Davis might
Okay.
speak to.
We have to have some discussions on with the presentation of that too, I think.
Well, he can do 1 through 4 then.
You could do 1 through 4 and then 6 through 9 if you want.
I think that's probably
That's not
Solid.
too-
solid.
Maybe that's a little unfair.
Oh, it's plenty fair, believe me.
It's never been done to anybody else, has it?
Tim's been planning this for a while.
Well, Tim is our planning expert, so.
Yes.
It is a short warrant, actually. There's not too many articles here.
All right.
Let's go 1 through 4 for now, and
All right.
1 through 4 are Hughes, 5 is
Mr.
And might I
Davis.
Mr.
recommend
Davis.
that no one else miss any meetings from
all right.
now
the rest are
till then.
TBD based on attendance.
I think it should be marked
Enthusiasm.
TBD/Hughes.
Oh, if he misses another meeting, he's going to be the only one staying in a town meeting. Him and Hal. All right. Approved minutes.
Just so you know that the executive session minutes for October 1st will be ready for your next meeting to be approved.
Thank you.
What is this motion regarding the electronic voting system?
That's under new business.
Okay.
Anybody wish to approve the minutes?
Yeah,
I
sure.
move that we approve the minutes from our meeting on October 1st of this year.
Motion's been
Second.
made and seconded. All those in favor? Aye. Your report, Mr. Administrator.
A lot of what we've already discussed this evening is what I've been working on. Today, we did submit a really great application, grant application. That was put together by our IT vendor, Dave Vernaglia, and Tony, his assistant. I asked them to look at the Community Compact Information Technology Grant Program, which is upwards of $200,000 maximum, to see if we could come up with a project that would qualify. And what we settled on is the resiliency of Town Hall and our emergency operation footprint. And everything from whether or not our generator is adequate for the whole building and for our systems and our police departments, emergency systems, but whether or not we are backing up properly, whether we have a solid recovery plan if we were ever knocked out by a cyber attack or, and it hits close to home, right? Charlton has been struggling with this. The town where I worked before here struggled with it. And so there's a whole plan involved with virtualizing a lot of our network and building out some fairly sophisticated things that will protect the town, have multiple backups. As long as we have a laptop and access to the internet, we would be able to recreate our entire server live and actually run the town from any place. So this entire building could be flattened, and as long as we have a laptop, we could work it. So that's the kind of best practices that Community Compact was designed to encourage. So we put in for that. Now, please note that we have a capital project already slated for an emergency backup generator here. That basically, we packaged that town meeting approval as our match. So hopefully we'll get points for having a match.
Yeah.
We may still have to go back to the people on that because frankly, having a generator big enough to power this entire building and not just a few of the circuits downstairs is a different kind of project. Substantially more expensive, and we also have to make sure our wiring inside the building is capable of handling the load when we do the switch, when there's a switch transition over. So there'll be some of that is extra to what we expected when we first proposed this through the capital committee. So we may have to, but right now we downsized it so that it fits within the financial constraints of the grant, hoping that we would get the whole grant.
Can't you use some of the grant money to cover the extra cost of upgrading
Well,
the
it's,
generator?
yeah, but you got to do the core IT project, and the
Yeah.
generator is part of that.
Right.
Ended up being more expensive than what was left in the grant eligibility.
Is
So-
the UPS part of that?
Yes.
Okay. Because
So we will no longer,
go
do what we do
straight
now.
to generator, which is very not.
well, right now we don't have a switch at all,
Okay.
and the code now calls for 3 switches, including an outdoor storm switch.
Mhm.
We would need a switch for public safety, and then we need a switch actual next to the box. So Bill Cundiff reached out to the industry and electrical engineer with substantial background in this, helped us write the grant for free. Obviously, we don't have to procure his services. So, the obvious discussion was, well, if you're going to do the design for us, you would get the work. But it all came in very reasonably. So that is what the other thing I'm going to cover with you in executive session that I can't get into here.
Is that all you got, sir?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So we have old business, seeing as none,
Well,
or some.
new business with these optical scanners.
That's what I was getting to. New business, optical scanners.
I'm eager to talk optical scanners.
You're eager to talk
You know?
Yeah. So it appears from the packet that we have is that we're looking to do away with the old tabulators that we were using for elections and move to ImageCast precinct optical tabulators. And they'd like to use those at the presidential primary election on March 3rd. And thereafter, all primaries and preliminary elections held in the town. That's pretty much it. So it's new, updated voting machines.
Well, who's paying for those?
They were approved in the capital budget.
We did that?
Yeah.
This is actually pretty far under what was approved.
So, new voting machines and under budget. Should make you super happy, Tim.
Yeah, I mean, this isn't entirely all digital or anything. We're gonna have hard copies of things. This is just a way to count, and I'm cool with it. I just didn't want to go down some sort of online path.
I was kind of hoping that we go the Florida dimpled Chad path, because that's just so much more fun.
I was thinking of retaining Mr. Giuliani to find a good Russian-Ukrainian connection to review
Ooh, you went there.
Yeah.
Wow.
Alrighty. So, and there's actually a motion all presented for this. as required by Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 54, Section 34, I move to vote the use of the ImageCast Precinct Optical Tabulator at the presidential primary election on March 3rd, and 2020, and thereafter at all primaries, preliminary elections, and elections held in the town of Douglas until otherwise ordered by vote of the Douglas Board of Selectmen. Said electronic voting system shall be used in the polling place as designated by the Board of Selectmen. Further, the town will discontinue the use of the AccuVote optical scanners in any and all elections held in the town of Douglas.
I'll second that.
Do you have any paper, or is there anything else other than this? So there is a backup paper?
Yes.
These
So
machines count
you're
down.
gonna
They count
mark
paper
these
ballots,
ballots.
right,
Yeah.
And I think they store them inside the machine,
So
don't
too.
they?
Yeah.
Same ballots and everything?
More or less. It'll be very similar to what voters are used to. It's just, as we all know, those old Eagle machines and some of the easiest things in the world to hack, and dot matrix printers on thermal paper. We're past that.
A little bit.
A little bit.
Okay, so the motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, Tim, we need one of your fancy motions.
All right, we'll make a motion that we leave this general session and move to executive session for the purpose of collective bargaining, and then to leave our executive session for the sole purpose of adjournment.
I would second that well-crafted motion.
Roll call vote.
Bone and I.
Morris, aye.
Davis, aye.
Cortez, aye.